Good morning. Happy, what is it? The first Tuesday, August. What's going on? The 1st of August, man. This year is flying by. It is a Tuesday. Mr. Max Voltage is in the chat. My day is complete. Good morning. I hope you had your extra scoop this morning, buddy. Good to see you guys. Hopefully you guys are having a great morning. This is kind of crazy. SEC's going after more people. I mean, this guy Richard was kind of a little shady to begin with, but I guess we'll have to see what the people are saying about him. All right, let's see who else is in the chat. Leo Lustig, Slick Nick, All Set Miner, Steven Cicero. What's up, buddy? Good to see you as well. We have Points Yeti. What's up, buddy? I did see your video today, actually. He was asking if we saw his him and Matt Electron's proof of useful work Dynex video. I didn't watch the whole thing. I didn't get to, but I saw you guys posted it, so I'll share a link towards the end of the video. Mr. Nick K, what's up, buddy? Good to see you as well. And Patrick Guyan was first. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, let's get into what the market's looking like today. It's pretty red, not gonna lie, and then we'll get into the rest of this. So looking like BTC 28,867, not too bad. I mean, it's under 29. I want to see it go to 25 and then it'll jump back up, right? I just want to buy some more. Ethereum 1800. We have Doge at 7.5 cents, just about. God, I hate trying to zoom in on coin 360. I apologize. Let's see. And then Litecoin, we have at $90. $90 Litecoin. I wonder if we're going to see it go down to 70 like Max Voltage predicts. Let's see. XRP 68 cents. XRP still holding up pretty good, but look at this on the day. HEX and Pulse Chain, check it out. I'll blow it up for you. HEX and Pulse Chain down a buttload. I actually just added these to the thumbnail before we went live. 30 minus 30% and minus 45%. That is awful. I feel bad for anybody that's actually into that coin right now, but hopefully it comes back if the lawsuit gets dropped, or if he's a scam artist. I'm sorry, I feel bad. That's just terrible. Sucks. I don't know if he is or he isn't. I'm not involved in Pulse Chain. All right, top 10 coins by coin market cap. Let's look at these real quick. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, XRP, USD Coin, Lotto Staked Ether, Dogecoin, Cardano, and Solana. We have Litecoin in 12th place. Let's go to the Fear and Greed Index. Check this out quick. 53 neutral, pretty normal. Haven't really seen too much change there in the past couple months. All right, let's go check out first things first. If you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to ask in the chat. We will elaborate on some things, but we have Crypto World. SEC sues entrepreneur for allegedly defrauding crypto investors out of millions, which is Richard Hart, I guess. And that's not even his real last name, by the way, if you guys didn't know. But anyways, let's get into this. And again, if you have any questions, just add me in the chat. Let's do it.
Today, the SEC sues a crypto businessman claiming he sold unregistered securities to fund his lavish lifestyle. Hackers target DeFi exchange Curve Finance and steal millions. And Jack O'Halloran of Scale Labs discusses the growing controversy around Worldcoin and its retina scanning technology. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Cryptocurrencies held steady through the weekend. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin still traded above $29,000. Ether traded right below $1,860, while Cardano hovered at 31 cents.
Again, that was yesterday afternoon.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories. DeFi exchange Curve Finance was just hacked. The platform tweeted on Sunday that hackers had used a bug in Curve's underlying code to trick smart contracts, allowing them to drain a number of liquidity pools. Blockchain security firm BlockSec estimated the hack to be more than $41 million as of this morning. Crypto hacks have actually slowed in 2023 thanks to low liquidity, with crime falling 65% from a year ago, according to Chainalysis. Next, the SEC just sued a U.S. entrepreneur for allegedly selling more than $1 billion in unregistered crypto securities to fund his lavish lifestyle. The agency alleges that Richard Schuler, also known as Richard Hart,
yeah, his real name's Richard Schuler, not Richard Hart,
used 3 crypto offerings, HEX, Pulse Chain, and Pulse X, as a quote pathway to grandiose wealth, including millions of dollars in Rolex watches. HEX tokens were marketed as an ETH-based CD, promising a 38% annual return. The SEC claims that that was just a cover for Schuler's alleged scheme. Last, more countries are looking into Sam Altman's retina scanning crypto tech. On Friday, France's privacy watchdog told Reuters the technology's legality is, quote, questionable, and that it had launched an investigation. Meanwhile, Germany is also looking into Worldcoin. The country's own privacy regulator told Reuters that it was looking into the project and that it had started investigating all the way back in November of 2022 over concerns that Worldcoin collected sensitive data at a very large scale. So for our main story, I spoke to Jack O'Halloran, the CEO of Scale Labs, about the growing scrutiny around Worldcoin and the competition for attention between AI and crypto.
I'm gonna put a poll in the chat. I actually want to know what you guys think about this Worldcoin thing. Like, do you like it? Do you hate it? You just whatever about it? You don't know?
Thank you so much for being here today. Let's start this conversation on Worldcoin specifically, because it's been gaining more and more attention from regulators since it launched last week. You have the UK, France, and Germany all saying they're looking into the technology. So what's your perspective on Worldcoin? What do you make of these concerns that it's potentially invasive, collecting this sensitive information without oversight?
Yeah, it's a really interesting topic. And I think the most interesting thing, and to me, is that blockchain is a lot of things to a lot of people. It could be the answer for, anti-banking, anti-centralized money. It could also be an answer for better centralized banking, better tracking of people, better, centralized authority. And so that's the cool thing about the tech, is that it could do a lot of things. And so when you have a polarizing technology, it really sets people off in every direction. And so something like Worldcoin, what it's trying to do is have a validated identity for every person in the world to connect your identity to an address on blockchain. And that scares people, especially, and it brings up issues around centralization and security and other topics that I think everyone's saying, hey, we should take this seriously.
Does Worldcoin live up to this idea of decentralized identity? Because yes, you can get your government ID for whatever region you live in, but does Worldcoin address those concerns of centralization if customers are expected to trust it with its identity and privacy, with their identity and privacy, using this proprietary orb technology?
Yeah. So what I'd say is the big aha here is that, if it is so critical, if it is the de facto, soul bound identity, which is a term crypto people use, is, it's an NFT that's attached to you. Well, one, what government's going to do it? Are we going to elect a centralized government authority? No, governments don't get along. And so what that means then is, okay, then are we going to have a private business do that? And that's the issue there, is that we do have people that are founders of Worldcoin, that are business people have invested in the growth of Worldcoin and from a VC perspective. And so when
real quick, Mr. Crypto Frank, thank you so much. Appreciate the donation. We have $49.99 super chat. Dude, you're crazy. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'll let the guy read it. But this Worldcoin thing, man, this is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy.
I met a guy that I knew for 5 years, thought he was a friend. He ended up scamming people for $24 million and is now in Fed prison for 8 years.
Holy shit.
So just be careful, you never know who is who. He was a diamond guy and tried to start a crypto backed by diamonds.
Goddamn. That's crazy. Scamming $24 million from people. Now is in federal prison for 8 years. Dude, Crypto Frank, thank you so much again. That's insane. Now, this I don't know. I'm super concerned with this Richard Hart guy. I've never invested into HEX because, I don't know about you guys, right? But I got something in the mail about HEX one day. It was like a pamphlet, kind of one of those ones you just open up, kind of like a brochure almost, but it was like a page folded into 3. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was kind of weird, and I'm like, HEX, what the hell? Why am I getting a cryptocurrency mail? I'm assuming every other property around me got the same thing, but if a crypto is sending mail letters around to have you invest into their coin, that was my first all right, this is kind of sketchy. I don't know about this one. And then yeah, he just seems like a Sam Bankman-Fried kind of guy, so I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of nuts. But on the other hand, Worldcoin, talking about this stuff, man, this whole scanning your eye thing is a little it's a bit overbearing for me. But I want to continue this crypto world over here with CNBC. Again, Mr. Crypto Frank, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's continue this, and then we'll continue talking.
You have those dynamics. The rest of the world says, hey, well, why are we picking this company to be our intermediary? And so that's where the decentralization is critical and security is critical. And, and that's their biggest issue right now, is they're nowhere near where they should be in terms of decentralization and security. But they're trying to solve a hard problem, because, if we wait for some government group to do this, it'll never happen.
I don't mean to imply that you're in a room with Sam Altman by any means, but if you were, is there something that you're looking at when you look at Worldcoin that says, this is how you could improve to address some of those concerns because it is such a polarizing technology? Is there something that you look at with this this retina scanning or with the way that the platform works that you could say this is how it could improve?
Yeah, so Vitalik had a really interesting post writing about this, because I think he saw, the power and where this could go. And I think a lot of people see that, hey, there are a lot of people that are getting their eyes scanned. I was reading every 8 seconds somebody is getting scanned.
What?
And and so for them, they really, if I
Whoa,
were
whoa, whoa,
talking
whoa. Every 8 seconds somebody's getting their eye scanned by this Worldcoin thing? What?
to Sam right now, I'd say, hey, you've got to, whatever the plan for decentralization is, you better put your foot on the gas and double it, triple it. And you need to get a lot of power in the hands of a lot of people, because right now, power and authority is in the hands of a few people. And when that happens, it's dangerous. It's also dangerous to decentralize too quickly. So this is not an easy problem to solve. And that's, again, why I think some people are really negative about the prospects of Worldcoin, whereas other people, obviously are bullish.
I mean, there is an AI conversation to be had here, because part of the reason for the scan is to make sure that you're in fact a human and not a bot signing up for the service. There's been a growing conversation, especially trying to figure out what's made by humans, what's made by AI. Is there room for blockchain in that conversation to have a use case helping to verify proof of humanity, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, one interesting thing is you look at the person who started the world's most successful and transformational AI company in the world is also one of the people starting what could be the most transformational, global adopted crypto solution. And so to look at these things, it's not a coincidence. These two, AI and blockchain, are technologies built to work together. When we started Scale in 2018, that was our premise. We've had a AI plugin since 2019. So there's a ton of value that can be added, and there's lots of really amazing future use cases. But one of them is around security, fraud detection, et cetera, and things that our credit cards and banks use today to try to prevent fraud. Those same technologies can integrate and add value back to blockchain, but it's one of many, many values that can be added, is what I'd say.
You mentioned Scale's connection.
I gotta bring this on the screen quick. I just Googled it. Worldcoin frenzy. Every 8 seconds, one person's eye gets scanned. What is wrong with people? Why? I would never. No, unless I'm forced to stick my eyes into this thing and it scans my eye without me knowing. There's no chance I'm doing this. That is absurd. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I don't understand it. Every 8 seconds? Who knows about Worldcoin that much to get an eye scanned every 8 seconds? What the
AI
is happening?
So maybe you're the right person to ask. It feels like crypto and AI have been in competition for attention this year, especially given all of the attention that crypto got in 2021 and part of 2022. Can these technologies work together in other ways? Is there enough oxygen in the room right now, especially from the VC side, to fund both? What does that look like going forward?
Yeah, and that's a really, really great question. So I started working in AI, by the way, in 2008. I spent 9 years working in the space. I like to joke that I started working in AI when AI was not intelligent yet. And it's funny for me. It reminds me a lot of the 2018 Bitcoin or Ethereum, and everyone, there wasn't enough oxygen in the room to have both Bitcoin and Ethereum satisfied, and it's either going to be Ethereum or Bitcoin, and these were two very different technologies that were incredibly supportive of each other. If you look at the value they add to each other, they're not competitive, they're collaborative. But people couldn't figure that out. And we're the same place we are right now with blockchain and AI. And one issue that I think you called out very astutely is oxygen in the room and LP resources into venture capital firms. And so that's where we're seeing a lot of competition. A lot of these kind of AI non-supportive or blockchain non-supportive of AI people are people in the blockchain space who are trying to raise money right now for their VC firms, not realizing they should be leaning into it as opposed to trying to fight it.
Dude, that is absolutely insane. Shout out to Crypto World for that. What do you guys think about that? The whole every 8 seconds thing. Do you believe that? I don't think I believe that, but that's what in the hell? That's crazy. Let's see. Magic Lucky said, imagine a future version of iPhone that to set it up out of the box, you have to scan your eye. Won't work unless you do it. I'm guessing almost every American would. Yeah, dude, that's so true, actually. That's so true, because You know how they got like the fingerprint thing now? Like you just put your finger on it and it like scans your finger or whatever. Yeah, I don't see that being out of the realm of possibilities. But that's wild. The whole 8-second thing. I just found out about Worldcoin like 2 weeks ago. I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't even hear about it until then. So whatever is what it is. All right, let's get into this. Crypto is done in America. Richard Hart, SEC, Coinbase, bald crypto price. Let's see what Mr. Altcoin Daily has to say about this whole debacle and Mr. Richard Hart getting the shaft with the SEC. Let's do it.
There's not that many ways you can make $1 billion in a year, and crypto is one of the few.
If you hold cryptocurrency, 3 big events are happening today that you should know. And we'll get to Richard Hart and the fraud allegations from the SEC. But before that, the biggest news, Coinbase CEO says the SEC wanted all assets except Bitcoin delisted.
Coinbase Chief Executive Officer Brian Armstrong revealing that the crypto exchange received more than a Wells notice from the Securities and Exchange Commission before the agency sued the company for allegedly ignoring requirements to register with the SEC. According to the Financial Times, the SEC asked Coinbase to halt all trading in cryptocurrencies aside from Bitcoin. Coinbase's Armstrong said the inquiry would have solidified, quote, an end of the crypto industry in the U.S.
So this is much, much bigger than we initially realized, as per this report from the Financial Times. In this new statement from Brian Armstrong, he said, they came to us and they said, we believe every asset other than Bitcoin is a security.
Yeah, we know that.
And we said, well, how are you coming to that conclusion? Because that's not our interpretation of the law. And they said, we're not going to explain it to you. You need to delist every asset other than Bitcoin.
And then something
they have to. We're not going to explain it to you, but just ruin your company for me, please. Thank you.
shifted about a year ago. A totally different tone started to happen, and we kind of got this information from the SEC that, well, actually, we think everything other than Bitcoin is a security.
And just looking at the numbers.
By the way, that interview was very good. I listened to it while I was doing some yard work. It was long. Brian Armstrong, shout out to him because he's a very good speaker.
That Coinbase filed with the SEC before they went public. Non-Bitcoin crypto assets are 55% of Coinbase Custody's business and 2/3 of its transaction revenue and trading volume. And today, the same clownish SEC that approved the company's IPO basically said, you need to stop doing the majority of your business or we'll sue you. Now, many of you are probably wondering about the bald token rug pull because...
Yeah, what the hell is this? Bald token? I've never heard of it until I read his title of the video.
This was on Coinbase's blockchain, the base blockchain. But breaking news as of this morning, the US SEC just sued Richard Hart, as well as his projects HEX and PulseChain, on unregistered securities and fraud allegations. So here is that official document from the SEC suing Richard Schuler, that's his real name, aka Richard Hart, and alleging that he raised over $1 billion across the 3 different unregistered securities offerings. That's HEX, PulseChain, and PulseX, beginning in 2019.
There's not that many ways you can make $1 billion in a year, and crypto is one of the few. The founder of XRP was the richest man in the world in 2017, and you know, one of us might be the richest man in the world in 2020. We'll see.
Wait, he was the founder of XRP was the richest man in the world in 2019? I didn't know that. Do you guys know that? That's interesting. He just looks like a scam artist, though, to be honest. He just looks shady as fuck.
And to go further, here is footage of Richard Hart explaining the HEX crowd sale back in the day and how much money he potentially is going to make.
And then there's an empty bucket, and people put Ethereum into that bucket. And then if you hold 10% of the Ethereum bucket, you get 10% of the HEX bucket. Then the bucket's empty out. Next day, new buckets.
You lose your ETH. I lose my ETH. And you get HEX. But who gets the ETH?
You're not supposed to know that.
Okay, then in the...
Tons of economic energy.
Wait, what? Did you just hear that? Is this how it works? Hold on, I gotta listen to that again. I'm sorry.
He potentially is going to make.
And then there's an empty bucket, and people put Ethereum into that bucket. And then if you hold 10%,
AKA his fucking wallet,
of the Ethereum bucket, you get 10% of the HEX bucket. Then the bucket's empty out. Next day, new buckets.
You lose your ETH. I lose my ETH. And you get HEX.
Listen,
but who gets the ETH?
You're not supposed to know that.
He's like me, and you're not supposed to know. That is shady as hell.
Okay, then in the...
Tons of economic energy.
That's not even
in the form of ETH is going to come into the adoption amplifier. Now, mind you, if you're getting a contract that gets $4 million of economic energy in it per day for 350 days, you're looking at about $1.2 billion. Okay, that's a lot of money. Nice.
Oh, he's fucked.
Whoever holds the keys to that must be a happy dude, right?
Sleep your ass against the wall, buddy. You're going to jail. That's terrible, dude. It sounds like he's absolutely scamming people. That's crazy.
Now, while these unregistered securities charges, not that big a surprise, knowing the SEC, knowing Richard Hart, but these fraud allegations, to me, are much, much bigger. Hart also defrauded his investors, the SEC alleges, in a lawsuit on Monday, by using investor funds for personal goods.
Oh, of course. Oh, look, it's all those write-offs right there. That's all business expenses. I just needed all this fucking Louis Vuitton bullshit.
In a direct statement from the SEC, Hart continually touted these investments, meaning HEX, Pulse, PulseX, touted them as pathways to grandiose wealth for investors, claiming that HEX, for example, was built to be the highest appreciating asset class that ever existed in the history of man.
Can you share your vision roadmap of HEX going to $1 million per coin, please? So it's very mind-warping and very weird to say that you could see.
As HEX is not even a penny. $1 million per coin is that what you just said? What the hell?
Each HEX be worth $1 million. It's really weird. But then I look at the chart. And the chart literally is pointed to $1 million.
This mofo, look at this. This is in one of the bags. This bear, that's Louis Vuitton. That thing probably cost you like 80 G's. It's so stupid. And look at this. It's like, look, he's got. Why do you have purses, bro? It's not a purse. It's a satchel. That's what it is. That's the thing. I get it.
$1 million. And this is with like a conservative line.
And the lawsuit goes on to say, although Hart claimed these investments were for the vague purpose of supporting free speech, he did not disclose that he was using those millions of dollars of Pulse Chain investor funds to buy luxury goods for himself.
Hi, Richard Hart. I own the world's largest diamond. You do not, okay? I don't care what you do. I don't care how hard you work. You can't own the world's diamond. I own it. Me. You don't. Get that right. I got $10 million of wristwatches. I got $3 million in cars. I got the 1,000 horsepower Ferrari. I had the most expensive Rolexes ever made. And I'm doing the world's largest free airdrop, pulsechain.com.
And
real quick, people that have a lot of money don't brag about having a lot of money. That's like number one mistake that guy just made. Like, you don't do that. Like, that's just incriminating in all accounts. Like, you're an idiot.
In summation, here are the 4 key allegations from the SEC. Number 1, Hart raised over $1 billion by selling tokens for his projects. Number 2, misuse of his control of the projects, making suggestive statements about potential increases in their value. Number 3, allegation was fraud or misappropriation of specifically $12 million in investor funds for personal luxury items, and they list the items that would equal $12 million. And number 4, marketing a staking feature to incentivize token holders to lock up tokens in exchange for more tokens. So these are the 4 allegations Richard now has to fight. Most shockingly, Richard Hart never incorporated a legal entity to carry out the token offering, so he is personally on the hook for all of the above.
Yeah, wait, so he offered, so you take your Ethereum, you put it into a bucket, and he gives you, out of this bucket, the same amount of HEX, or whatever equivalent amount, then dumps it out, does it again, whatever. If you want to put more in, you can, but your Ethereum's gone at this point. And then he's saying that, hold on, I want to hear that one more time. Mr. Dupran, by the way, thank you for being a member for 4 months. Said, morning, CCXD. Look forward to Chump Change Construction doing work in my house later today. I appreciate your offer to help. Hell no, I am sore as hell today from doing my patio. But listen to this. So, staking feature to incentivize token holders to lock up tokens in exchange for more tokens. So, you lose your Ethereum. You're getting this HEX token, and then they want you to lock up this HEX token that probably doesn't really have any value or exist to get more tokens. This sounds like Sam Bankman-Fried 1,000%. This is just so strange to me, the way that was just kind of explained. All right, let's go back to here.
He is personally on the hook for all of the above.
How will Pulse Chain and PulseX go with global regulation with the SEC?
Ooh. Oh, let's see what he says.
Hey man, did you know the SEC said that EOS was an unregistered security? And did you know that EOS settled with the SEC for $27 million and got an exemption from the SEC to continue doing business? I like it when I hear people say things like SEC is going to lock people up. The SEC
is not a criminal enforcement agency and cannot lock you up and does not have agents to kick in your door and lock you up. They are not the Department of Justice. The most they can do is file civil lawsuits and or refer things to the Department of Justice so that they can do their job.
And many of you have been asking me about...
Should we put bets on if he's going to get locked up or not? You guys think he's going to get locked up? Dude, this is just so sketchy. It's sketchy as hell.
About this, Bald token plunges 90% as developer pulls liquidity, i.e. a rug pull, and Bald launched a little over 24 hours ago and has attracted massive hype and millions in capital to the Base blockchain, which is Coinbase's blockchain. At its peak in how much money is now gone, Bald held as much as $32 million in Ethereum during European morning hours on Monday. And what is Base? What is this Coinbase blockchain? Well, Base was built by crypto exchange Coinbase on Optimism OP Stack, launched its testnet in January, and just opened to builders in mid-July. Traction has been scant thus far, except for Sunday, when the likes of Bald led a sudden rush in capital and users to the blockchain. So Bald is now dead, and major news for Ethereum, Celo proposal to migrate to Ethereum Layer 2 passes. So this is a huge win for Ethereum because Celo, which was its own independent L1 blockchain, has now chosen to become an ETH scaler and ETH L2. The reason? Well, they want better security, liquidity, and a bigger development community. And this passed by an overwhelming majority. According to the proposal page, there was 131 votes in total, with 128 of those votes voting in favor of the transition. Be sure to click subscribe.
Huge shout out to Altcoin Daily for that. But goddamn, man, that guy Richard, that's messed up. Is it just me, or do you guys think it's messed up too? Is that like entire thing? I've never heard him speak, and I don't think I've ever watched really anything with I mean, I've probably watched one or two things with him, like in like news bullshit, but that blatantly seems like a scam. You're gonna lose your Ethereum to get HEX, then you can stake your HEX or put your HEX away to get more HEX. It just sounds like you're just depositing money and you're getting fed false hope. That's what that seems like to me. Anyways, I don't know what you guys think, but let's see. PowerMinds Crypto, what's up, buddy? Good morning. And Condibits, thanks for being a member for 8 months. Bucket challenge, please. He says, what is let me see real quick. Let's see what this poll says. Richard Hart, a scam artist. 60% of you said yes, 37% said not sure, and 2% said no. I'm convinced, thoroughly convinced, that the no and the yes from the last poll are just Patrick Guyan trolling. This one person. That's it, guys. That like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. All right, let's see. So real quick, if you guys did not see this or whatever, read it in the chat that Mr. Yeti said. Mr. Matt Electron put out a video. I'm actually going to copy this, put this in the chat. This is the first look at Dynex SDKs and proof of useful work. I did not have a chance to listen or watch this yet, but that is the video. So it's an hour long or so. So obviously I'm not going to watch it on stream, but let's kind of, Yeti, if you can kind of put in the chat what we're looking at. So this is the way it's doing proof of useful work while you're mining. Is that kind of what's going on here? If I'm not mistaken. It's kind of crazy. It's literally an hour of nerd talk. So hopefully you guys enjoy this little video he's got here. I was also going to watch something else. This right here. What's it called? I'm interested to watch that though. Matt Electron and Yeti, thank you for doing all the work on that. I'm gonna go check it out. This one right here, prepare yourself for digital ID and CBDCs are closer than you think. This is Coin Bureau. I kind of want to give this a watch quick. Oh, didn't mean to click on it. But yeah, let's watch this. Let's watch this. I'm gonna put it up to 1.25. If you guys think it's too fast, let me know. If you want it to be faster, please let me know. And let's do it. Let's hear what he has to say about all this BS. I'm sure this has to do with Worldcoin as well. Let's see.
Digital ID for everything. Smart cities that track your movement. Central bank digital currencies for all transactions. Restrictions on cash. Sharing your social media information to create a bank account. All sounds like a conspiracy.
What? Social media account to create a bank account?
Theory, you might say. Well, that's the reality on the ground in Nigeria today, and tomorrow it'll be a reality in your country too. That is, of course, unless you do something to stop it. Now, the first step to doing anything is to be informed, which is why we're going to tell you what's happening to Nigerians, how they're fighting back, and how you can do the same. Did you know that Nigeria leads the world in crypto adoption? Depending on your source, up to 50% of Nigerians use crypto on a regular basis. This is despite the Nigerian government banning financial institutions from working with crypto in early 2021, and its continued scrutiny of crypto-related entities. This begs the question of why Nigeria leads the world in crypto adoption. The short answer is necessity. Around a quarter of the population is unbanked, but not because banking is unavailable.
Real quick, sorry, I had to pause this because that's a very good question in the chat. Mr. Magic Lucky said, so without putting words in your mouth, Yeti, would you say Daniel Keller is wrong about Dynex then? For the question. So I know there was some like back and forth between Daniel and Dynex or Sumitomo, whoever runs Dynex Twitter. I'm assuming it's Sumi, about like just not really proving anything or whatever. I don't know. They were just giving him shit, right? It's kind of like guerrilla warfare, kind of, keeping Flux relevant while they're still working on their proof of useful work. It's gonna take a bit for it to come out. It's not gonna be out till Q1 of next year, so it's kind of just stirring the pot a bit. So it's interesting to watch, but yeah, I'm not on anyone's side. I want to see what happens with both of them. I think Dynex, it to me it seems legit, but I don't know about I don't know who he is, right? He's still anonymous, so we can't say we know who he is or he isn't. I don't think it really matters unless he really did something in a past life where that was like malicious, right? Guerrilla marketing, that's what it is. Guerrilla marketing. Thank you. That's what I meant to say. I don't know why I said the other one. That's exactly what I meant to say. Steven Cicero said, how about Dan not acting like a CEO of a comps company? Gotcha. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna plead the fifth on that. I'm just gonna leave that alone. All right, let's continue. Let's see what else Mr. Coin Bureau guy over here has to say.
The largest country in Africa, Nigeria has some of the most advanced banking infrastructure on the continent. In fact, Nigeria became the first African country to roll out a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, in late 2021. And yet, nobody adopted it. Only 0.5% of Nigerians were using the e-Naira 1 year later.
E-Naira, so they had an electronic CBDC in Nigeria? That's interesting.
Even with its elaborate banking infrastructure and a CBDC, cash is still used for up to 80% of payments in Nigeria. This means there's more to Nigeria's crypto adoption than meets the eye. And this ties into the long answer, which is what this video is about. To understand why Nigeria leads the world in crypto adoption, we must go back in time to when it began and analyze the events that have occurred since then. As you'll soon see, we're starting to see a similar series of events in other countries around the world, including in the West. As such, Nigeria could be the canary in the coal mine for what's coming for all of us. The country could also provide a blueprint on how to prevent it using cryptocurrency. So, let's dig in. Now, based on Google search trends, Nigeria's interest in crypto began in 2015 and has been rising ever since. Fun fact, Nigeria consistently comes up as the #1 country for global searches of terms related to crypto. Other countries in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East often occupy the other top positions. Logically then, something must have happened in 2015 that caused Nigerians to start adopting crypto, especially Bitcoin.
Real quick, I just wanted to stir up the pot. I put a poll in the chat. Please answer it and hit that like button.
The obvious reason would be that it's because of the crypto bull market which began around that time. The thing is that Nigeria's crypto interest has been rising ever since. The answer to this riddle can be found in Nigeria's gross domestic product, or GDP, a measure of the country's economic output. As you can see, Nigeria's GDP collapsed in 2015 and never really recovered. This was almost certainly due to a global collapse in oil prices, which began the previous year. For context, Nigeria is the largest oil producer in Africa and one of the largest oil producers in the world. Naturally, oil is Nigeria's largest revenue source. According to Al Jazeera, oil sales are how the Nigerian government gets 75% of its revenue. Put simply, Nigeria is heavily dependent on oil and oil prices. The fact that Nigeria happens to have the largest oil reserves in Africa has also made it one of the most geopolitically important countries on the continent. Lo and behold, the United States and China have both been trying to influence Nigeria for decades, including directly interfering in its elections. So, when the Nigerian economy imploded in 2015, the World Bank didn't hesitate to step in with yet another multi-billion-dollar loan. For reference, the World Bank is an international development bank that's closely allied with the United States and issues loans with conditions that support US interests. If you want evidence of this, just watch our recent video about Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's recent hearing. It was filled with discussions about how the US could better use the World Bank to influence not only developing countries in places like Africa, but also developed countries in places like Europe. If you've seen that video already, you'll recall that the World Bank has recently been issuing loans that include conditions on restricting fossil fuel development. Now, this is bad news for Nigeria, given its dependency on the oil industry. Nigeria is also one of the World Bank's biggest borrowers. According to Reuters, the World Bank has issued no less than 130 loans to Nigeria. It's not entirely clear how much money Nigeria currently owes the World Bank as a result, but a Nigerian news report from last year noted that it owed $13 billion, making Nigeria the World Bank's fourth largest debtor. And it's not just restrictions on fossil fuels that the World Bank has been demanding from Nigeria either. If you watched our video about digital ID or fast payments, you'll know that the World Bank has been rolling out both in its debtor countries with the help of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
You know what's funny? I haven't heard much about the Fed Now thing since it came out, actually. Have you guys heard anything about it? Let me know if you guys have.
Case in point, the World Bank gave $400 million to Nigeria to create a national digital ID in 2019. And it's
also, sorry I didn't add a fourth option in the poll. I should have put F them both. just for fun, but I apologize to anybody that doesn't like either of them. Just don't answer, I guess.
Just one of many digital ID funds the country has received from the US-affiliated entity. This investment seems to have paid off. 100 million Nigerians, almost half the country, now have digital ID. You'd be forgiven for thinking that Nigerians have been rushing to adopt this digital ID. In fact, the only reason they have is because the Nigerian government made it mandatory. You reportedly need a digital ID to get a driver's license, to get a SIM card for your phone, and, apparently, to participate in elections too. And if that wasn't scary enough, the Nigerian government is now reportedly planning on, quote, combining banking cards with its national ID, be it physical or digital. This is almost exactly what the EU is planning with its digital ID wallet. As the name suggests, the EU's digital ID will come with a built-in wallet. And this is not a coincidence either. Remember that $400 million the World Bank gave to Nigeria to develop its digital ID? The EU was one of the contributors to the massive cash pile. And the EU probably didn't do this out of kindness. It most likely did it to test the system it's about to roll out in Europe. It seems the US has been running tests of its own as well. The company that helped Nigeria's central bank build its CBDC is American, and the same company is now helping Ukraine build its CBDC. But that's just the American side of the Nigerian crypto adoption equation. The Chinese side is just as scary, if not more so. Whereas the World Bank has been giving loans to Nigeria with strings attached, China has been building much of Nigeria's modern infrastructure. Russia has been playing a role as well. Per a press release by the CCP, quote, China is the leading contributor to Nigeria's infrastructure development. More than 20 Chinese companies are participating in the construction of major projects concerning the economy and people's livelihood in Nigeria, comprising of railways, roads, electricity, ICT, and oil refineries. Now, that last part should give you pause. China is also involved in Nigeria's oil industry. In case it wasn't clear enough, China has been meddling in Nigeria's affairs for quite some time.
I didn't know that.
However, it wasn't until the economic implosion in 2015 that China's presence started to have a negative effect on the local population. The New York Times wrote a sobering article about this. The TLDR is that China has been flooding Nigeria with cheap Chinese goods and commodities, presumably those that don't meet the quality standards for export to developed countries.
Oh, that's messed up. China's playing a little tricky little shits. That's what they're doing. If you guys haven't answered that poll, please do. It's pretty freaking close. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, I'd be a bit worried. I guess that's interesting that it's that close. Actually, Flux 44% so far, Dynex 32%, and both 24. Sorry, I didn't put an option for nobody, but yeah, it's I guess if you had to pick one, there you go. Answer that if you could. It'd be great.
As a result, Nigeria's infrastructure is faulty and unreliable, and its local economy has been entirely priced out. Here's what I mean by priced out. Quote, angry protesters in the street blame widespread joblessness on China, which is manufacturing African fabric designs more cheaply than Nigeria. Employment in Nigeria's textile and apparel sector has plummeted to 20,000 people from 600,000 2 decades ago. Now, the consequence of this is that Nigeria's unemployment has been skyrocketing since 2015 and is projected to reach 41% by the end of this year. The absence of a local economy has made Nigerians heavily reliant on remittances, money sent from overseas.
Real quick, do you guys notice his shirt? I didn't notice this for whatever reason. There's the rock, gold, coins, credit card, Bitcoin, and it shows the evolution of people. That's so cool.
This has contributed to its crypto adoption. If that wasn't bad enough, the Nigerian government appears to be expanding its relationship with China despite the damage this is doing to its local economy. For instance, Nigeria's vice president gave a speech just a couple of months ago basically saying that the West can't be trusted and China is a better ally. Now, this is understandable when you consider the history between Nigeria and US-affiliated international organizations like the World Bank. Once upon a time, the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, issued loans to Nigeria. The conditions attached were so bad that the IMF is still hated by Nigerians to this day. At least China has been building infrastructure, as the proponents claim. In truth, though, China has been doing the same, just in a different way. If you watched our video about how China is taking over Africa, you'll know that it has, like the World Bank, also been issuing loans to African countries. The difference is that it often requires physical infrastructure as collateral, physical infrastructure often built by China itself. When these countries can't pay back their loans, China comes in and claims the infrastructure as its own. Newsflash, Nigeria isn't in a very good financial position. Besides the billions it owes to international organizations like the World Bank, Nigeria also owes billions of dollars to other countries. As you might have guessed, Nigeria owes the most money to China, around $5 billion. To put things into perspective, that's over 80% of Nigeria's foreign debt. There's speculation that Nigeria will default on these debts sometime this year, in which case China will likely seize much of its physical infrastructure as compensation.
All right, I'm going to put a new poll in the chat. I'm gonna change this up. I'll do what Fully Electric says. It says CCXD. The better question is which project is going to earn you the most, Dynex or Flux? That's a rough one. Hold on though, I got to screenshot this because that was way closer than I thought it was going to be for a poll. I'm not gonna lie, that was way closer. But this is a pretty good poll. Pretty good poll actually. So I'm gonna save that. And oh god, you guys changed it. 40% Flux now. All right, I'm gonna take a new screenshot of that and I'm ending it. There we go. All right, now, actually, I don't even think that screenshot worked. All right, regardless, I'm going to put a new poll in the chat. Give me 1 second.
But that's just the Chinese part of the Nigerian crypto adoption equation. The final part of the equation is Nigeria itself, specifically its government. As is often the case with countries that receive lots of money from overseas, Nigeria is incredibly corrupt, and it seems that this corruption is only increasing. For those who don't know, Nigerian officials are infamous for embezzling the country's oil money, which I'll remind you makes up almost 75% of the government's revenue. The famous case comes from 2016 when a whopping $16 billion in oil revenues were reported missing by the government's treasury. Some sources suggest that Nigerian officials have embezzled more than $500 billion of the government's revenues over the last 50 years. The practical effect of this is apparently that Nigerians don't want to pay taxes because they know the money won't be spent on infrastructure. Most of it will just be stolen. This is probably a contributing factor to the average Nigerian's apparent hatred for international organizations like the World Bank and suspicion of predatory countries like China. And there have been multiple reports of Nigerian officials embezzling this money too, and it seems to be getting worse. This is due to a combination of the oil-related factors I mentioned earlier. First, oil prices plummeted. Then the World Bank and others came in with loans that required Nigeria to restrict its oil production, and then China came in and started taking over key parts of Nigeria's oil infrastructure. This means that the only way Nigeria's corrupt politicians can make money is by essentially appeasing both sides. They're rolling out digital ID and CBDCs to get money from the World Bank, and they're rolling out all kinds of faulty and unreliable infrastructure to get money from China.
Messed up.
The worst part is that what Nigerian officials claim to be doing and the consequences their actions are having are completely contradictory. Take the e-Naira, for example. In theory, it's meant to increase financial inclusion. In practice, however, you can only access it if you already have a bank account. Now, to be fair, this is something that could easily be changed, and it's possible that it has been by the time of shooting this video. But even then, Nigerians do not have the reliable physical infrastructure required to adopt the e-Naira. Consider that almost half the country still doesn't have internet access. Nevertheless, Nigerian officials don't seem to care because they still seem hell-bent on effectively banning cash to force CBDC adoption, probably to get more World Bank money. Some of you might have seen all the headlines about Nigeria restricting cash use for exactly that purpose late last year. What you might not have seen was the headline about the Nigerian central bank wanting to remove certain banknotes from circulation. The TLDR there is that this move would have reportedly resulted in over 80% of Nigeria's cash becoming worthless and 50% of Nigerians losing their life savings in the process. Fortunately, in February this year, Nigeria's Supreme Court stepped in to stop the old banknote ban from going into effect. Unfortunately, it's believed this was done for political reasons because all the Supreme Court did was delay the old banknote ban to December this year. There were elections in February. Since that time, we've seen other insane headlines related to both the Nigerian government and Nigeria's central bank. Highlights include the creation of smart cities, where every citizen will be tracked using their digital ID and will require social media information as part of KYC to create a
I don't trust this shit. The whole everything that's going around right now is all the CBDC BS is like, it's just crazy, and the Worldcoin thing's nuts. And yeah, that's I'm definitely trying to stir the pot with these polls, but it was crazy, to be honest. Oh God, look at this. Dynex 55%, you guys are saying in this poll. Which proof of useful work will earn you the most in your opinion? I'm definitely not putting that on Twitter.
This foreshadows restricting freedom and financing for Nigerians who openly disagree with the government's corrupt officials, which is
my P.O. box will be filled with hate mail.
Terrifying, to say the least. Not surprisingly, Nigerians haven't been too keen on opting into this kind of system, which is why they've been opting out using cryptocurrency and cash. It looks like cryptocurrency could soon be the only alternative available to many Nigerians. That's because the physical naira has been collapsing ever since the government removed its currency peg in June. According to the government, the naira lost 23% of its value overnight. According to locals, it was 40%. Chances are that this was one of the conditions of the loans granted to Nigeria by US or China-affiliated entities, most likely the former, as it was reportedly done to incentivize foreign investment. Then again, it could just as easily be Nigeria itself. Hyperinflating away cash is a great way to force CBDC adoption. Now, this brings us to the question of how you can use cryptocurrency to protect yourself from a similar outcome in your country. Make no mistake, digital ID, CBDCs, smart cities, and all these other dystopian technologies are being rolled out around the world, and quicker than you may think. Nigeria just seems to be further ahead. Thankfully, protecting yourself is a simple two-step process. The first step is to assess where your country is on the risk curve, so to speak. If you live in a country that's receiving large amounts of money from US-aligned organizations like the World Bank and IMF, it's safe to assume that the digital dystopia is coming sooner to your country than others. This doesn't just apply to developing countries, by the way. If you live in a European country that's receiving lots of money from the EU, then you're probably further up on the risk curve than you may think.
Oh boy.
The same could be true at the state level. States that are the most dependent on federal funding are likely more at risk. This sounds silly until you realize that most countries aren't that different from Nigeria. We all have corrupt officials in our governments. Any money these officials or the government gets comes with strings attached. I should also note that this money doesn't just come from the public sector, it also comes from the private sector as well. Money that comes from megabanks like JP Morgan and asset managers like BlackRock comes with similar terms and conditions. This is probably because all these dystopian initiatives have their roots in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. More about those in the description. I digress. Now, the second step is to assess whether your country is actually capable of implementing all of these dystopian technologies. As we've seen with Nigeria, the physical infrastructure isn't always there, nor is the coordination. Widespread corruption can paradoxically be a plus because it delays the rollout. And even if the physical infrastructure and coordination are present, the willingness may not be. The technology could be rolled out, but its adoption may not be enforced. And even if its adoption is enforced, its usage may not be. This is something we've mentioned many times. Adoption doesn't guarantee use. Now, if you've determined that your country is capable of implementing all of these dystopian technologies and is willing to do it, then your number one imperative is to ensure that alternatives continue to exist. That means doing everything you can to ensure that cryptocurrency and cash remain legal. There have in fact been a few proposals floated in European countries to ensure that cash use is enshrined in law. Even the European Central Bank proposed enshrining cash use in law when it submitted its proposal for the digital euro. Perhaps they know that there are other ways of eliminating cash. The harsh reality is that cash alone is not enough to protect you against what's coming. Crypto is also required, and some would argue that gold is required too. So, the imperative is to ensure that you always have an ability to store and transfer wealth that's outside of the dystopian system being created. Now, in some countries, these dystopian systems will never see the light of day. In others, however, they will be implemented and could last for a long time before they inevitably collapse. So if you think you're in the latter camp, make sure you have the ability to relocate just in case. Let's hope.
Interesting. All right, I'm going to just a quick shout out to Mr. guy over at Coin Bureau. You're awesome. All right, so quick, I want to kind of talk about something. Mr. Fully Electric said in the chat, Magic Luckily, only because I got free electric, I have not stopped mining Flux, but I only got one rig on it and all my other rigs on Dynex. After what I see on Twitter, I can't honestly back Flux anymore. And that's kind of what it comes down to. It's like at some point, just leave it alone, because yeah, you're gonna make more enemies than it's worth. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of why I'm just staying out of it. Like it is what it is. I'll just sit back and watch. I'll watch the regular scheduled programming over there on Twitter. I'm not a huge fan of Twitter, to be honest, or X or whatever the hell they call it now. All right, let's see. Let me see. Mr. DJ, what's up? I'm at the machine gun range. I'll be listening though. Dude, that's sick. That's sick. You know, there's a place where I don't know if you can shoot machine guns, but there's a place near us that you can shoot. It's like indoors. I think you can shoot ARs in there, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't bring mine though. I know you can shoot shotguns in there. And when I was in there the first time, like we're in there with like our handguns, and this dude next to me had a freaking shotgun that was loud as shit. And he freaking blasted that thing like before I put my earmuffs on, bro. It scared the absolute shit out of all of us. It was like so freaking loud. But dude, those ranges are sick. Please speak your mind. I saw that Slinger at max with Flux. Slinger at max with Flux. Sustainable crypto. I would love to, but it's not worth it. It's not worth the headache. Oh my god. What the hell else was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else. Oh, this poll. So this poll, right? Flux, I said, which proof of useful work will earn you the most in your opinion? And it could be mining or whatever, just over time, like holding, right? What's gonna earn you the most? What do you think is gonna go the furthest? I mean, Flux right now. Flux, actually, you know what? Hold on. That's a good. We're gonna do that. We're gonna look. What is Flux at right now? Let's see the price of Flux. It was at like 40 cents last time I looked. I think Dynex might have passed it. 38 cents. Good time to buy Flux, to be honest. That's my opinion. All right, so 38 cents. Dynex. 64 cents. Holy shit. All right, hold on. I gotta open this new tab. I gotta get. Well, let's put them side by side. Let's see. All right. I don't know we're gonna be doing this morning. Where is it? There it is. All right, so Flux and Dynex. Let's see. What are the market caps? Total supply. What we got? All right, so total supply of Dynex. Oh wow. Wait. Oh, hold on. So 100 million is the max supply. 440 million is the total supply. Same thing, right? Isn't that the same thing? Or am I wrong? I think it's the same thing. Circulating supply. There's only 65 million Dynex out, and there is 315 million of Flux out. Wow. So, I mean, I guess they're both pretty close to. They're both getting there to their max like out, right? Well, let's see. Fully diluted. Dynex has 64 million and Flux has 171 million. So clearly they're definitely they definitely have more money, I guess, as like a whole in there, right? But this is absurd. This is absurd right here. Oh, sorry. You know what? Let me blow this up so you guys can actually freaking see it. My bad. Sorry, guys. But that's crazy, right? Holy shit. Dynex is crazy how it's pumping like that. Pissed I don't have a bigger bag. But I don't know. See, like, this is where I'm at. I personally still think that Dynex and Flux are both going to do well. Okay, I do. The controversy in between the two people, or the two devs or owners or co-founders or founders or whatever the hell you want to call them, whatever they are, the headbutting is the thing that makes you guys look bad. That's my opinion. Just leave it. I would just leave it. Just let lion dogs lie and prove your projects. That's all you guys need to do. You know what I mean? Because like you're gonna make other people not like you in the space, and I don't want to see that happen to either of these projects. I like them both, but man, that's crazy. It's crazy. So personally, I think it's a good time to buy Flux. This is really, really low. I think they are not up to their potential, or they will get there as soon as this proof of useful work is actually implemented, or, you know, if it is. And Dynex, I'm very excited to watch this video right here with Mr. Matt Electron and Yeti. I want to listen to this. This is an hour-long video, so if you guys have any time to go watch this, you have 1.1 thousand views on that already? Or wait, hold on. 1.1 thousand likes. Holy shit, Matt Electron. Good for you, buddy. This thing just came out 3 hours ago. Fucking nuts. Good for you, dude. Hell yeah. All right, guys, go watch this video. Give it a like and share it amongst your friends. I want to see what this is, but yeah, man, if this if Dynex really can pull through and do this, I think that we have a very good opportunity, I guess, here with Dynex. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. And I hope that Flux, I hope they can keep up. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to, but they're two different things, I guess, as far as that's what I'm gathering anyways. That's what they claim. Two different ends of the spectrum with proof of useful work. I don't know how, but that's what it is. All right. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys all have a happy first of the month. This is Tuesday, August 1st. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Let me end this poll, and I gotta screenshot this. Don't you guys dare share this on Twitter. Oh, let me screenshot it, see if it works. Oh, pause me for a minute. There we go. It worked. Oh yeah. All right. I just wanted to take that. We have Flux 25%, 49% on Dynex. Love them both, 9%. Fuck them both, 16%. Man, that's crazy. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Peace out.